Your mother-in-law just criticized your parenting again. Your coworker took credit for your idea in the meeting. Your friend canceled on you for the third time this month. And you're lying awake tonight, replaying it, trying to figure out how to make them understand. How to fix it, how to control what they think of you. Stop. Because there's a two-word phrase that a Harvard-trained researcher and one of the most successful self-help authors alive says will end that spiral for good. It's called the let them theory, and once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. Mel Robbins didn't invent a complicated framework. She found something almost embarrassingly simple, and that's exactly why it works. The theory is this. Whenever someone is not acting the way you want them to act, whenever they're not doing what you think they should do, whenever they disappoint you, ignore you, or let you down, you say two words in your head. Let them. Your friend doesn't text back. Let them. Your family member judges your choices. Let them. Your partner doesn't want to go to the party with you. Let them. It sounds almost too simple to be real advice, and that's the first thing people get wrong about it. This is not indifference. This is not giving up on people. This is the fastest way to take your power back from people who were never going to change anyway. Here's the part nobody tells you about adulthood. You have spent your entire life trying to manage other people's behavior. You've tried to control how your parents see you, how your boss evaluates you, how your friends treat you, how strangers on the internet judge you. And every single minute you spend trying to control someone else's actions, thoughts, or feelings is a minute you are not spending building your own life. Mel Robbins puts it in a way that stings a little, because it's true. Adults waste an enormous amount of energy being frustrated, disappointed, or hurt by people who were simply being themselves. You didn't lose that energy because those people were wrong. You lost it because you expected them to be someone they never agreed to be. So the first half of the theory is let them. Let your sister not show up for your birthday. Let your coworker be petty. Let people misunderstand you. This is not weakness. This is the recognition that other people's behavior was never actually in your control to begin with, and pretending otherwise is where all your exhaustion has been coming from. But here's where most people who've heard about this theory online get it wrong, because they stop at let them, and that's only half the equation, and honestly, the less powerful half. The real transformation happens with the second phrase, which is let me. Let them not show up for you. Let me decide who I surround myself with going forward. Let them talk about you behind your back. Let me stop giving them access to my life. Let them underestimate you. Let me prove it through my results, not my arguments. This is the part that turns the theory from a coping mechanism into an actual strategy for getting what you want. Because letting go of control over other people doesn't mean you become passive. It means you redirect every ounce of that energy into the one thing you've always actually had control over, which is you. Think about the last time you tried to convince someone to see things your way. Maybe it was a parent who doesn't approve of your career, or a friend who doesn't respect your time, or a partner who won't meet you halfway. How much of your mental energy went into that battle? Now imagine if you had spent that same energy on your own goals instead. That's not a hypothetical. That's literally the trade the let them theory is asking you to make. There's a reason this resonates so hard with people right now, and it's not just because Mel Robbins has a massive platform. It's because we are living in the most socially exhausting era in human history. You are not just managing the opinions of your family and your 5 closest friends anymore. You're managing the opinions of coworkers, extended family on group chats, old classmates on social media, strangers in comment sections. Your nervous system was not built to care about this many people's approval at once, and the let them theory is essentially a filter. It's a way of asking, does this person's behavior actually deserve my energy, or am I just on autopilot, reacting the way I've always reacted? There's a specific example that captures why this hits differently than typical self-help advice. Imagine you throw a party and half the people you invite don't show up. The old response is to spiral. What did I do wrong? Why don't they like me? Maybe I'm not likable, let me text them and find out what happened. The let them response is different. Let them not show up. Their absence is information about them, their priorities, their life, not a referendum on your worth. Let me enjoy the party with the people who did come. That shift, from making everything about you to accurately locating whose behavior actually belongs to whom, is the entire theory in miniature. Now, is this theory perfect? No, and it's worth saying that plainly, because part of doing this content honestly is not pretending every viral idea is flawless. Critics have pointed out that let them can be misused as an excuse to avoid necessary conflict, to disengage from relationships that actually need direct communication, or to rationalize tolerating behavior that should be addressed, not just accepted. If your partner is consistently disrespecting you, the answer isn't just let them and let me move on internally while staying in a harmful situation. Sometimes let me means let me have the hard conversation, let me set the boundary out loud, not just privately. The theory works best as a first filter, a way to stop the spiral of overreacting to other people's normal, everyday, human behavior. It was never meant to replace actual boundary setting when boundaries are genuinely needed. Where this theory becomes genuinely useful is in the 100 small daily frustrations that drain people without them realizing it. The friend who's perpetually late. The relative who brings up your weight at dinner. The coworker who never says thank you. These aren't crises. They're just people being exactly who they've always been, and you exhausting yourself trying to will them into being different. Let them be late. Let me leave on time next time instead of waiting around. Let them bring up the comment. Let me change the subject and not carry it home with me. The compounding effect of applying this dozens of times a day is what people report as the real shift, not one dramatic moment, but the slow removal of 100 tiny weights you didn't realize you were carrying. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. You cannot let them and stay bitter about it. That's not the theory, that's just suppression with extra steps. The real practice is feeling the sting, saying let them, and then asking yourself immediately, so what do I do now? What's my let me? That second question is where your actual life happens. Everything else was just noise you'd mistaken for your responsibility to manage. Let's take this into the workplace, because this is where a lot of people say the theory clicked for them the hardest. Your coworker takes credit for your idea in the meeting. The old you spends the rest of the day replaying it, rehearsing the confrontation you'll never actually have, drafting angry emails in your head. The let them version looks completely different. Let them take the credit in that one meeting. Let me start documenting my contributions in writing from now on, so it doesn't happen again. Notice what didn't happen there. You didn't suppress the feeling. You didn't pretend it was fine. You redirected the energy from resentment into a system that actually protects you going forward. That's the difference between letting go and giving up, and it's a distinction most people never learn, because nobody ever taught us that those are two different things. Same thing applies to the promotion that goes to someone else, the client who chooses a competitor, the boss who doesn't notice your extra effort. Let them make that call. Let me build a track record so undeniable that eventually the decision makes itself. Now let's talk about the place this theory might matter most in 2026, which is your phone. Every time you post something and watch the numbers, you are running an unconscious experiment in letting other people's reactions define your worth in real time. Someone leaves a dismissive comment. Someone you admire doesn't like your post. An old classmate posts a life update that makes yours feel small by comparison. Let them comment whatever they want. Let me remember that a comments section is not a courtroom and I am not on trial. Let them post the highlight reel. Let me stay off my phone for the next hour instead of scrolling their life like it's a report card on mine. The theory isn't really about the specific scenario. It's about catching the exact moment your nervous system hands the steering wheel to someone else, and taking it back before you've driven or in the wrong direction. If you've made it this far, here's the honest truth about why this two-word trick works when so many self-help concepts don't stick. It's not because it's profound. It's because it's fast. You don't need to journal about it, meditate on it, or process it in therapy before you can use it. You can use it in the 3 seconds between someone disappointing you and your reaction to that disappointment. That gap, that 3-second gap, is genuinely where your entire life is decided, one moment at a time. So the next time someone doesn't call back, doesn't apologize, doesn't meet you halfway, don't ask what's wrong with them, and don't ask what's wrong with you either. Just say it. Let them. And then ask yourself the only question that was ever actually yours to answer. Let me what? If this broke down something you needed to hear today, hit subscribe, because every week this channel takes one book that's actually worth your time and pulls out exactly what matters, no fluff, no filler, just the parts that change how you think. Drop a comment with the person you just said let them about, you know exactly who it is.